JPS back for another video, and today we're going to be reacting to parliamentary versus presidential democracy explained. So as you know, we have a presidential democracy here in America. The president switches each term, which lasts 4 years, and each president is allowed to serve 2 terms. There's a lot of divide in America when it comes to the president. You know, half of Americans always tend to hate the president, and half of Americans are okay or like the president. It's just bipartisan divide, you know, a lot of animosity between the two parties or factions, whatever you want to call them, the Democrats and the Republicans. I tend to just stay out of all that, but you know, that's what the situation's like. You guys probably know about that. But yeah, in where you guys are at, you guys have parliament, and I have no idea what that means or how that works. So today we're gonna figure that out. This was recommended by multiple people, so shout out to you guys. You know exactly who you are. Multiple people on Patreon. So yeah, if you guys want to, you know, talk to me, you can literally recommend videos directly to me, and sometimes if they're good ideas, I post them on YouTube like this. So yeah, join my Patreon, link in description. I'm telling you guys, it's worth it. But yeah, hit the like and subscribe button if you're new. Yeah, let's get into this. I'm excited to learn about Parliament because it's been a long time coming. Like, man, here we go. Here we go.
This is an explanation of the 2 main systems of democratic government, presidential and parliamentary. Around the world, there are many variations of these 2 types, but we're going to focus on the United States and the United Kingdom because they exist on the opposite ends of the democratic spectrum, and they've been the most influential to other countries around the world. Every 4 years, the American people elect a president, but it's not a direct election where the winner of the overall nationwide vote wins the White House. The US is the only country to have an electoral college system, where each state has a number of electors based on the size of its relative population. Every state, except Maine and Nebraska, awards all of their electors to the candidate that receives the most votes in that state, with an overall 270 electoral votes needed to win. This more complicated system exists to give the states a little more control over the process. The Constitution limits the president to just 2 4-year terms in office. In the UK, the people directly elect a representative from their geographic constituency, of which there are a total of 650 throughout England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. These representatives make up the House of Commons in Parliament. The leader of whichever party wins the most seats in this general election, which occurs every 5 years, becomes the Prime Minister, who has no term limits. The Prime Minister then forms a government. The members of Parliament from parties not in power are called the opposition. Once inaugurated, the President appoints 15 cabinet officers to run the various departments of the executive branch of government. Nominees have to be confirmed by the Senate. However, the Prime Minister's appointments for the 21 different cabinet positions need no confirmation, although they must be currently serving in either the House of Commons or the House of Lords. In the American presidential system, the power to create laws is split between the President and the lower, the House, and upper, the Senate, chambers of Congress. In America, both houses of Congress must pass a version of a bill. But for a passed bill to become a law, the president must sign it. If the president refuses, this is called a veto, the Congress can try and override the veto with a 2/3 majority vote in each chamber. The Congress is the second branch of the federal government. The third is the Supreme Court, a 9-member body whose members are nominated by the president and confirmed by the Senate. And so,
hey, rest in peace to, you know, our
life terms. The Supreme Court
why did you say our
appeal and decides if state and federal laws are legal under the Constitution. The legislative body is a bit more complicated in the UK's parliament, although it also has an upper and lower chamber. Both the lower, elected House of Commons, and the upper House of Lords make and shape the laws, but the House of Lords isn't elected and is made up of officials appointed by the Queen, bishops from the Church of England, and hereditary peers, many of whom inherit their positions. Lords.
That is very, very interesting to me, how the church has influence on the government. How do you guys feel about that? Comment down below. Because if that were in the United States, that would be highly, highly debated. You know what I mean? Like, one of the main things in the US is separation of the church and state. and that's quite the opposite. But obviously, that's just one part
as an
of it.
unelected check on decisions
Yeah.
made by the House of Commons. Bills are presented by the Prime Minister's government, debated and changed by both houses in the Parliament, who must then both agree on a bill for it to become law. A Supreme Court, with less power than the American version, was created in 2009.
Pretty recent.
In addition to being the head of government, the American president is also the head of state, and is the official representative of the country to the rest of the world, although this role often falls to the president's Secretary of State. The president is the commander-in-chief of the military of the United States, although only the Congress can formally declare war.
Yeah.
The president lives at the White House at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in the heart of the District of Columbia. In the UK system, the monarch is the official head of state. Legally, the monarch still has many powers, like giving final approval on all laws, but in the reality of modern times, the Prime Minister and the Cabinet run the country. The Prime Minister is also the Commander-in-Chief in all but name. The monarch still meets weekly with the Prime Minister and has the constitutional right to, quote, warn, encourage, and be consulted. The ability of the monarch to influence the decisions of the Prime Minister varies depending on the relationship between the two leaders. It's worth noting here that the current Queen of England, Elizabeth II, has been on the throne for 63 years and is 89 years old.
Yeah.
Her son, Charles, Prince of Wales, is her heir apparent. The monarch resides in Buckingham Palace in London, while the Prime Minister lives at 10 Downing Street.
Okay, so it was when they're trying to compare like the Queen and the Prime Minister's power, are they saying that that has like the Queen's power has kind of diminished, or her role has diminished over time? Or does it depend on the relationship? Like, what is Queen Elizabeth's current relationship with the Prime Minister? I actually would like to know that, because he didn't mention, because I think this video is older probably. I don't know.
Here, the President delivers a State of the Union address to the joint Congress and the nation, in which they lay out their governing priorities. Since the members of the House of Representatives are elected every 2 years, the President faces a referendum on their performance halfway through each term. If their party loses seats in a midterm election, their ability to enact their agenda for the rest of the term is weakened. Every week, the Prime Minister answers questions from other members of Parliament, while simultaneously debating the leader of the opposition. This is a televised way for the people's representatives to directly challenge the Prime Minister on a whole host of issues. Besides resignation, the only way a president can be removed from office is impeachment, which is done by the House of Representatives. This is like a prosecutor bringing official charges against a defendant. If a vote to confirm the charges passes the House, the president is impeached. The Senate will then try the impeachment, but in order to convict, a 2/3 vote must be achieved by the senators. If this happens, which it never has in American history, the president is removed from office. In the UK...
I got through the House, but not the Senate when you know who was in office.
The House of Commons passes a no-confidence vote in the Prime Minister, or if the Prime Minister's party loses a vote on a budget, they are seen as politically weakened and will call a general election. So that's the basic differences between the American presidential and UK's parliamentary system. The President is the Chief Executive, while the Prime Minister, who is also a Member of Parliament, officially shares some power with the monarch. The UK's legislature, because of the House of Lords and the longer time between elections in the lower house, is less responsive to the changing whims of the people, and it is slightly easier to force a Prime Minister out of office than a President. You can see from this map just how many countries have been influenced by the American and British forms of government. Thanks for watching. Like this video to help it.
Alright guys, so that was super interesting. I learned a ton. Hopefully you guys might have learned something too about, you know, the United States, our government. Couple questions. First of all, what, you know, I know it went over it kind of briefly, but not fully. So I think I'm going to learn also, because like the comments, they always help me so much, you know what I mean? You guys' just comments, like I learned so much from you guys in the comments, so keep commenting. But what party do you guys identify with and why? Comment that down below, okay? I'm just curious. If you're not comfortable with it, don't do it, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm curious. And not in terms of, you know, you could also say which party in America would you identify with? You know, the Republicans, Democrats, Independent, whatever. Or, you know, what party in the UK do you like identify with, or are you registered with? Also, let me know, what do you think about our government? Do you think it's better than yours? Do you think it's worse? Everything has flaws, obviously. You know, nothing's perfect. But do you think our system of government needs to be changed? I don't know. It's just, you know, some things to think about. But yeah, guys, really appreciate you guys watching, and shout out to, you know, the people who recommended this. I think it was a solid video. I'm definitely going to check out some more stuff about Parliament, though. More about the current situation there, because this video wasn't about that, obviously, but, you know, definitely sparked my interest in that. Anyways, hit the like button and, you know, comment that stuff if you want to down below. And I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.